Watch. Harry Potter turns 20. Live from E! Rewind. The boy who lived is now the young actor who grew up. Can you believe it's been 20 years since we were transported to Hogwarts in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone? The Chris Columbus-directed adaptation of J.K. Rowling's magical novel about a young wizard who lived in a cupboard under the stairs was the acting debut for the main trio: Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter; Emma Watson, Hermione Granger; and Rupert Grint, Ron Weasley, who would become three of the most famous actors in the world. While expectations were higher than a Quidditch broom, the first film in the 8-movie journey managed to shatter expectations, grossing over $1 billion at the global box office and kick-starting one of the most successful and beloved franchises of all time. In honor of E!'s mini-marathon of the first two films, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone and Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, starting today. Jan.29 at 8:30 a.m. We're checking in on all of the child stars of the original movies, including Tom Felton, Draco Malfoy, Matthew Lewis, Neville Longbottom, and Ivana Lynch, Luna Lovegood. Oh, and that guy Robert Pattinson, who played Cedric Diggory. Ever heard of him? Accio, nostalgia. Find out what the wizards of Harry Potter are up to now below. And catch an encore of both films tomorrow, January 30th, on E! Starting at 12 p.m. Daniel Radcliffe, the boy who played Harry Potter, is ever grateful for the role that knocked down all the doors for him, but he's also been busy scrubbing any child star residue from his acting image, starting with his raw nudity requiring Broadway debut in Equus in 2007. He followed that up with the more chipper How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying in 2011. For years he has alternated between theater, The Cripple of Inishmaan, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, and film, The Woman in Black, Victor Frankenstein, leaning heavily into the dramatic and/or the absurd. To be sure, if there's some dark humor to be found, Radcliffe is into it, whether on TV playing a morphine-addicted physician in A Young Doctor's Notebook or a low-level angel trying to prevent God from ending the world in Miracle Workers, or playing a flatulent corpse in 2016's Swiss Army Man. He was starring in Samuel Beckett's Endgame at the Old Vic in London when live theatre and everything else was shut down due to the coronavirus pandemic. Sober since 2010, Radcliffe has also been open about drinking to excess back when the Harry Potter franchise was nearing its finish and, already more famous than he ever dreamed, he was anxious about his next step in life. In my case, the quickest way to forget about the fact that you're being watched is to get very drunk, he said on Off Camera with Sam Jones in 2019. And then as you get very drunk, you become aware that, oh, people are watching more now because now I am getting very drunk, so I should probably drink. Moretto ignored that more. Radcliffe has been in a relationship with actress Erin Dark since meeting her on the set of 2013's Kill Your Darlings, in which he played Howl poet Allen Ginsberg. Emma Watson, the Paris-born and Oxfordshire-raised kid, had no more than a few school plays on her resume when she was cast as Hermione Granger, her first professional acting job. After completing the 7 films, Watson split her time between college at Brown University. She graduated in 2014 with a degree in English literature, and starring in indie movies such as The Perks of Being a Wallflower and The Bling Ring, the latter of which saw her breaking out of her rule-abiding Hermione shell as part of a band of privileged but maladjusted young thieves who start stealing clothes, jewelry and cash from celebrity homes. While modeling for the likes of Burberry and Lancome, Watson played Belle in the hit 2017 live-action remake of Beauty and the Beast, and in 2019 was the more traditionally minded eldest March sister, Meg, in Greta Gerwig's Little Women. She has also become an activist focused on gender inequality, launching the He for She campaign as a UN Women Goodwill Ambassador in 2014 and remaining an outspoken advocate for parity in the film industry and beyond. Past boyfriends have included Will Adamovich, Matthew Janney and William McKnight, but these days she's happily coupled with businessman Leo Robinson. This past May, Watson addressed reports about their relationship and her possible retirement from acting, tweeting, "Rumors about whether I am engaged or not, or whether my career is dormant or not, are ways to create clicks each time they are revealed to be true or untrue." Rupert Grint. It was as if the redhead from Essex sprang from the earth ready to play Harry's best mate, Ron Weasley. Grint, whose first big post-Potter honor was being part of the Olympic torch relay before the London Olympics in 2012, an amazing experience he said he'd cherish forever, has acted primarily in British productions. Most notably, he starred in the ABC Murders on BBC One, based on the Agatha Christie mystery, and the Sky One dark comedy Sick Note, playing an average Joe whose life perks up after he's given a false alarm cancer diagnosis but decides to let everyone continue to believe he's still sick. Lindsay Lohan was Amangus co-stars. His movies have included CBGB, about the famed punk rock club in New York, and the French comedy Moonwalkers. He currently stars on Apple TV in Servant, M. Night Shyamalan's supernatural mystery series, which returned for a second season. "From the moment I got the part of Ron, my life completely changed," Grint told Radio Times in 2018. "It was a weird time and it has taken me a long while to process. Just being invisible can still be difficult. Sometimes you just want to go to be." He also said, "After Potter I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I had this feeling that I had missed out on normal things. I lost touch with a lot of my friends from school. I wanted to have a bit of a life again, so I took a break. I've never really been super ambitious. I think there's always been something in me, particularly when I finished Potter, that wants to prove myself, but I am also naturally quite an insecure person anyway. Whatever he was doing worked." Shyamalan told EU.com about Grint, "He came in and auditioned, and I just saw a different person. I don't know if I've ever seen this kind of reinvention from child actor to adult actor in my life. It's amazing." In May 2020, Grint and longtime girlfriend Georgia Groom welcomed their first child, daughter Wednesday G. Grint. Matthew Lewis. Without a doubt, the erstwhile child actor who played the awkward Neville Longbottom has made the biggest splash in the then and now department, as news of Lewis' grown-up hotness has since traversed the globe. Lewis has primarily done stage and screen work in his native England, including the BBC One miniseries The Syndicate, the 2016 tear-jerker Me Before You, and the 2018 revenge thriller Terminal with Margot Robbie. In 2015, he raved about the enjoyable time he was having playing a soldier in the BBC Three dramedy Bluestone 42, about a bomb disposal squad in Afghanistan. "Potter was an amazing and a unique experience that I was privileged to have been a part of," Lewis told RadioTimes.com, "but I've never been as involved with or as proud of a project as I have with Bluestone 42. I've had so much fun being a part of it, so much more than I've ever had before as an actor, definitely." On the Mentality podcast in January 2020, he said he'd been filming All Creatures Great and Small for Channel 5, an update of the classic BBC show that ran from 1978 to 1990 based on the books by James Herriot. "The title might not mean a lot to some," Lewis noted, "but it was a bit of an institution in Britain. And it's since come to masterpiece on PBS. He's a private fellow, but we do know that he married Angela Jones in 2018 and that they made it stop at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter World, the very place where they first met, in October 2019. They live in Florida, where Jones is from." Tom Felton. The nefarious Draco Malfoy, 2 consecutive MTV Movie Awards for Best Villain, was really a platinum-haired doll with a heart of gold in real life. In the summer of 2011 he was in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, but has since been in less CGI-heavy films, most notably the period dramas Belle and a United Kingdom. He blew fanboys and girls' minds showing up as Julian Dr. Alchemy Albert on the CW's The Flash in 2016. Most recently Felton starred on the YouTube Premium sci-fi drama Origin and the films Ophelia and Breaking for Wales. Also a singer-songwriter, he has released several EPs over the years as well, and his Instagram where he makes soup, plays guitar, hangs out with his dog and has the occasional Potter reunion, is one of the most joyful places on the internet. Felton dated Jade Olivia Gordon, Draco's flash-forward wife, Astoria Malfoy, for 7 years before their breakup in 2016. Bonnie Wright, the auburn-haired actress, was barely 10 when she started playing Ginny Weasley, going from Ron's little sister to Harry Potter's soulmate over the course of the films. In 2011, Wright won the Most Edgy Look award at the Rodale Beauty Awards and made her London Fashion Week debut walking the runway for London-based designer Katie Eerie. Wright graduated from London College of Communication and formed her own production company, Bonbon Lumiere, in 2012. In addition to acting in such non-Potter movies as After the Dark and Who Killed Nelson Nutmeg, the artist and activist has written and directed her own short films, including Separate We Come, Separate We Go, starring her David Thewlis, the Remus Lupin, 2014's Know Thyself, with Christian Coulson, who played Tom Riddle, and Medusa's Ankles featuring Jason Isaacs, aka Lucius Malfoy. Her latest production is the music video for Melt by the singer Maguire, and she's set to release her first book about sustainable living in spring 2022. In December 2019, Wright joined Watson, Felton, Lewis and Ivana Lynch for a reunion that, happily, someone thought to take a picture of. Time turning. Wright captioned the pic, punctuating the sentiment with a lightning bolt. She was previously engaged to Sweeney Todd star Jamie Campbell Bower, who played a young Gellert Grindelwald in Harry Potter and the Death Hallows Part 1, but they called it off in 2012. She then dated Simon Hammerstein for several years before revealing a new romance in an Instagram post on Christmas last year. James and Oliver Phelps. Not to take away Fred and George Weasley's individuality or anything, but Ron's twin older brothers and Hogwarts resident pranksters were indeed played by actual twins. Oliver is 13 minutes older and has a mole on the right side of his neck. They have since played twins in other films, including Our Own Worst Enemy and Last Night in Soho, directed by Edgar Wright, while James has done more acting on his own. Another way to tell them apart. Oliver has been married to Katie Humpage since 2015. The brothers remain as close as ever, though, and James was happy to report on June 25, 2020, that he had just beat Oliver on the golf course. They also host a podcast together called Double Trouble, and recently had sister Ginny, Bonnie Wright, that is, on as a guest. Alfred Enoch. The British actor started out in the Hogwarts student ensemble as fellow Gryffindor Dean Thomas and, after doing a slew of theatre in England and popping up in the likes of Broadchurch and Sherlock, starred on 4 seasons of How to Get Away with Murder. There he played the well-intentioned but inevitably morally compromised and doomed law student Wes, though he returned for a cameo as, spoiler alert, Wes' own son in the mind-boggling final season in 2020. He recently appeared in Apple TV's Foundation, and Enoch is also a graduate of the Queen's College, Oxford. Christian Coulson. Chris Columbus was looking for a 15 to 17-year-old to play the specter of 16-year-old Tom Riddle in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, but the 23-year-old Coulson won the part anyway. He's been working in film and TV ever since, most notably playing Damian George on Nashville, Sebastian in the Golden Globe-winning Amazon Prime series Mozart in the Jungle, and now Benjamin on High Fidelity, the new Hulu reboot of the book-turned-movie starring Zoe Kravitz as the lovelorn list-making record store owner, now set in Brooklyn. Katie Leung. After beating out roughly 3,000 other aspirants to play Harry's Goblet of Fire-era crush, Cho Chong, the classically trained Scottish actress did theatre and TV on her side of the pond, including the series White Dragon and Chimerica. Most recently she appeared in the BBC One limited series The Nest. On the big screen, she played the daughter of Jackie Chan's character, whose death in a terrorist bombing he spends the movie avenging, in the 2017 action thriller The Foreigner. In March, Leung, who is of Chinese descent, opened up about the hate she received online after her casting was announced. I was like, Googling myself at one point, and I was on this website which was dedicated to kind of Harry Potter fandom, and I remember reading all the comments. It was a lot of racists. T. Leung said on the Chinese Chippy Girl podcast. And then somebody had actually created a website, a hate site. It was like, if you disagree with this casting, then click on this button, and then it would just be like a count of how many people disagreed with the casting, and you would just see a number. I know, it's awful. It's so awful. Robert Pattinson. Gosh, whatever happened to the lad who played ill-fated heartthrob Cedric Diggory in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire? Oh, right. Pattinson landed the lead in the other major YA franchise Roiling Hearts and Minds, The Twilight Saga, and played brooding vampire Edward Cullen in 5 films, dating co-star Kristen Stewart along the way. Since then he has distinguished himself in the acting department with gritty turns in independent films like Maps to the Stars, Cosmopolis, The Rover, Good Time and The Lighthouse. But hell returned to big-budget blockbusters when he dons the iconic cape and scowl as the titular DC superhero in 2022's The Previously engaged to FKA Twigs, Pattinson has been dating model and actress Suki Waterhouse for more than 2 years. Clements Poesy. The statuesque fleur delacour from Beauxbatons Academy in France, chosen to represent her school in the Triwizard Tournament, eventually marries Ron's groovy big brother Bill. Since then Poesy has worked steadily in film and TV, most prominently on Gossip Girl, the dark comedy in Bruges, the English and French crime series The Tunnel and Ingenious, Picasso on National Geographic Channel. Most recently the French actress made the World War II-era film Resistance with Jesse Eisenberg and Ed Harris, and appeared in Christopher Nolan's Tenet opposite her former Triwizard Tournament opponent, Robert Pattinson. Poesy has a son, Liam, who was born in 2017, and welcomed a second child in 2019. I was thinking today how much it's made me closer to women, somehow. Closer to women in the centuries before, the whole clinical aspect of being pregnant and then becoming a mom and giving birth. It makes you think a lot, she told The Guardian at the time. It's made my admiration for women even stronger. Ivana Lynch. The angelic-looking actress stole her scenes as the scatterbrained but heroic Luna Lovegood starting in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, but she admitted that she struggled to get acting work after being part of the iconic franchise. It was just weird because we were getting all this fan mail and all this attention, Lynch told Bustle in 2019. But I found in the real world that wasn't reflected. And it was hard. I think for a while I really missed the validation of being in a giant film series where anything you did was just admired and gushed over. A vegan herself since 2015, Lynch started a clean, cruelty-free beauty line, Kinder Beauty Box, in 2018 and co-hosts a podcast, Chick Peeps, with fellow actors and activists. She came in 3rd place on Dancing with the Stars in 2018. She told Bustle that she remained especially close to Katie Leung and Scarlett Byrne, Pansy Parkington. They were planning to go to a New Year's Eve party together to Ring in 2020, and saw a lot of her former co-stars at conventions. I think a lot of us have bonded more since the films, Lynch said. Just because we're older and we're adults now. Say, for example, I hung out with the twins this weekend, James and Oliver, Phelps. And I didn't talk to them much in the films because when you're 14 and whatever, they're 18 or 19, it seems like such a giant age gap. When you're adults it doesn't seem that much. Josh Herdman. Draco's henchman Goyle also cleaned up his act since his Slytherin days, most recently appearing in the British crime drama Marcella with Anna Friel, the 2018 big screen update of Robin Hood, the crime miniseries Murder at White House Farm, and the spy drama Alex Rider. In 2016, he began his MMA career. Herdman is also dad to a son, Morgan, with longtime partner Jessica Worth. Harry Melling. Like most of the Harry Potter bullies, even Dudley Dursley was a perfectly nice bloke in real life. Mid-franchise, Melling started a workout regimen and got in toxic good shape. He was almost recast before Deathly Hallows Part 1, but was able to stay on as Harry's portly spoiled cousin by wearing prosthetics. Though fairly unrecognizable from those days, Melling has worked consistently on stage and screen ever since, including roles in The Lost City of Z, The Coen Brothers' The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and the HBO series His Dark Materials. Most recently, Melling reteamed with Joel Coen to play Malcolm in the director's upcoming take on the tragedy of Macbeth, with Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand as the murderously ambitious main duo. Melling also appeared as Harry Beltic in the hit Netflix series The Queen's Gambit and co-starred opposite Charlize Theron in the streaming giants action flick The Old Guard. Watch the Harry Potter films anytime on Peacock. Originally published November 16, 2021 at 5 a.m. Pacific Time.